Okay, so what I want to talk about is my version of how you can change your life in 6 months. I know there's multitudes of variations that are out there about how to change your life monk mode, how to change your life in 6 months, no FAP, how to change your life in 6 months by doing something uncomfortable, taking action. This is going to be my version of it, and this will allow me to cement one of the earliest memories that I've had of me making a change within my life. So I'll tell you a story to illustrate this and how afterwards I realized that a lot of it has to do with identity change. When I was a freshman in high school, I was a pretty nerdy kid. I was kind of like a gangbanger, uh, baggy white t-shirts, Dickies, and you got the Chucks going on, especially the blue ones. And that really was my persona. And so I dressed like a gangbanger, but then I was a nerd. So I got good grades, I studied, I did all of that stuff, right? And freshman year of high school, I told myself like, hey, this is not who I want to be. This is not where I want to be. I want to be the type of person who can get the girls, who can have charisma, who can talk to people. And that's when I took during that summer, I realized that in order to get the outcome that I wanted, which was being the type of person who could talk to girls, who could get women to fall in love with him, to have girls all around him, right? And to be the type of person who can maintain his level of intelligence and grades and all that good stuff, but also be athletic at the same time, but also be super confident and also be able to get women. And so during that summer, I went through an entire transformation of who I was as a human being. And I started training consistently, and I didn't have a gym membership, but what did I do? I went down the street to my local park at the playground. I started doing dips, started doing pull-ups, started doing lunges, started doing squats because I knew that the confident version of myself needed to be strong, needed to be fit, needed to feel good about himself. So that was one thing. The second thing has completely changed how I dressed. I because I was out getting fit, obviously I changed my entire wardrobe, how I showed up, what I wore, how I wore it, right? To become a little bit more stylish. Then I learned to be charismatic, right? How to cold approach people, how to not be afraid of communicating, how to not hold anything back and be extremely confident. And so when I go back to school that year, sophomore year of high school, I'm a completely different human being. I dress differently, I speak differently, my body is different, how my demeanor is different, and how I show up is a completely different individual than how I went into my freshman year of high school. And that is my earliest memory that I have of making an identity change, right? I went from being the version 1.0 Malik of the kid who was shy, who couldn't speak up, who dressed a certain way, who had a lot of limiting beliefs about himself, and then going into this version of myself that was completely transformed, super confident, jacked, shredded, right? Super athletic, right? And being able to have the confidence to be able to approach girls, get numbers, do all of that stuff. And like I said earlier, that is the earliest memory that I have of making an identity change. And I think that's the first and the most important thing, in my opinion, that somebody can do to change your life within 6 months. And for me, that happened over a summer. And at that time, when I was young, I didn't even know what an identity change was. All I knew was I had this image of the person that I wanted to be, right? I wanted to be this person. I was here and I wanted to be this person. And so for me, it was just identifying who is this type of person? Like, this is where I want to go. Who is this type of person? How do they act? What do they say? How do they speak? What actions do they take? What is their daily schedule? How do they show up in the world? And then you slowly go from this person and start acting like this person until you become this person. That's really just what a major identity shift is. And I think the problem that most people have is that they cling on to their identity for a very long time. And the identity could be, oh, I am Pakistani. I am this way. I have an accent. I am X, right? It's kind of like I have in my driver's license, I am 5'8", my name is this, and I live in this city. And so what you're doing is you've created this identity for yourself, and identity is just an image that you have created for yourself that you define who you are and what you do. And I think what most people don't realize is that you can change your identity. And the sad part is, and I've realized this over the years, it's almost been, 11 years outside of high school, is that most people live the same 2 years out of high school over and over again until they die. And what that means is, right out of high school, they go to college, they create an identity, maybe their identity doesn't change, or they maybe mature just a little bit, and then they stay that person forever. Forever. And it never changes. And so my definition of how you change your life is by changing your identity. And the way you change your identity is sitting back first and identifying, where am I at right now? Who am I? Right? What are the characteristics that I describe myself? Am I confident? Am I not confident? What are my skills that I have? What are the character traits that I have? What are the beliefs that I keep telling myself about myself? Because in a navigation system, right, if you are trying to go from here, I'm in Texas and I'm trying to get to Colorado, well, a navigation system can't tell me where it is that I want to go until it pinpoints where I am at in this moment. And once I know where I'm at in this moment, that is when I can determine what my destination is going to be. Right? And so once I know where I'm at this point, I know my character traits. The way that I like to do it is I got a document. I call it a becoming journal. You can call it a morning formula, whatever it may be. There's different words for it. And in that document, I have, what are my goals that I'm trying to achieve, right? And the way that I set goals is I don't have these big, magnificent goals. I have those, but I very rarely review them or change them. Those are always ever changing. Those are lifetime goals. These are 5-year, tangible, quantifiable. They're qualitative, but also quantifiable. A lot of these big giant goals are qualitative goals, right? Meaning that they have feelings to them, not numbers, versus the qualitative goals or quantitative goals. The quantitative goals have a lot of oomph to them. There's a data, there's numbers that you can track, something that you're trying to get to. Right below those goals for me, I have, who is this person that I'm trying to become? What are the character traits, right? How does this person show up into the world? How does this person speak? How do they act? How do they engage with others? How is their health? How is their relationship with others? I'm very clear on the character traits that this person has. Then I go into skills. What skills does this person have, right? So in this evolution of my identity, I'm trying to become a different version of myself because it's a constant evolution. You always go from version 1.0 to version 2.0. And then your version 2.0 becomes your version 1.0, right? And so right now, whatever my version was, I think I'm on version 6. My version 6 has now become my version 1.0. And in order to get to version 7, I have to become a different version of myself. And part of becoming a different version of myself is being able to show up on camera like this, on long form video, and be able to communicate and articulate exactly what it is that I'm saying. And to be able to do that, I need to take the actions that are required to get there. And showing up every single day and doing this is part of my actions. And this is how I change my identity. Okay? So in this document, I've got my character traits, I got the beliefs, and I got the skills that I need to develop. Skills being able to show up on camera and speak off the cusp, no script, and being able to articulate my ideas within the moment and having the ability to clearly articulate them. I'm not that good yet. Right? But if I keep doing the reps, I'm going to get better. Right? And so part of changing your identity is, again, we took a little sidetrack here. Part of changing your identity is being able to identify where it is that you're at, right? Where it is that you're lacking. Then it's understanding, once you know where you're at, then the next piece is, where are you trying to go? Right? I would even say, before you identify where it is that you're at, the first thing you can always do is, where do you want to go? Right? And what I have found, that identifying where it is that you want to go is very hard when you are doing it alone, when you're thinking about it alone. And so there's a great theory for mimetic models, right? And mimetic model theory, or the mimetic theory, is that we have models inside of our life that we mimic, right? We have people that we look up to. And growing up, right, it was our parents. We looked up to our parents, and then it became somebody else. And unconsciously, you know that you are modeling somebody and modeling their life. And unconsciously we do that. But if you can wake up and consciously decide who it is that I want to model, right? Who is it that I want to aspire to be like? And it doesn't have to be one person. It could be multiple people that have different character traits, right? This person has this that I like. This person shows up very well in their relationships. I like that. This person makes this much amount of money, and I'm going to borrow this from them, right? And once you have a list of where it is that you're trying to go, because in sales, we always say there's two types of syntaxes. There's a goals syntax, goals first syntax, and then problem first syntax. The goals first syntax is very easy for those people that don't know what their problem is. And so, like in a B2C world, we always just go into, hey, what are your goals? What are you trying to do when we're doing B2C sales? Because they understand where they're trying to go rather than the problems that are holding them back. In the B2B world, we usually go with a problem first syntax, is getting very clear on their problem and then going into their goals. But either way works. So what you're doing when you're actually defining your identity, your future identity, and who it is that you want to become, you're approaching it from a goals first syntax, which is, what are my goals? What am I trying to do? What are the person that I'm trying to become? What is the character traits? What are the beliefs? And what are the skills that this person has, right? Character traits is this person wise? How does this person show up in the world? Are they grounded, right? Because before, as a part of my old identity, I used to be a very reactive individual. And I knew to change my identity in one of my documents that I have, I think it's version 2.0 or version 3.0, it's I am a grounded individual. I can ground myself, I can belly breathe to then be able to be very hyper-focused and very conscious and not say things that are not meant to be said or blurt stuff out that doesn't need to be blurted out, right? And so that's the first step, I would say. It's first getting very clear on who it is that you're trying to become and having a model or multiple mimetic models of who am I trying to replicate? Who has the life that I want, right? This person is making the money that I want, and okay, I'm going to borrow the skills that they have to make money, right? This person's very good at sales. They're very good at marketing. They're very good at product development. They're very good at speaking. Okay, I'm going to borrow those aspirations and skills from this person. Okay, this person shows really well up for their relationships. I like how they treat their wife. I like how they have a very good work-life harmony. Okay, I like how they balance their work, their mission, their business with their life. Okay, I'm going to borrow that from them. All right, this person has very good beliefs around how they view the world, how they see different things. Okay, I'm going to borrow some of that from them. And this borrowing from different models helps you cultivate this identity, and then you add your own things that you aspire into it. So now you've got this big chunk of an individual that you've created, this identity, this new thing that you've created that you want to become. All right, you've got this over here. And we come back to your current identity. This is where you define where you are. Who the heck are you, right? Because aspirations are great. This is awesome. This is a nebulous thing here. But to know who it is that you are in this moment and what are the things that you need to change, right? Because you can start acting like this person, but there's going to be a lot of resistance because this has become your current reality. This is how you live. And again, one of the biggest things I like to say is that you are a reflection, right? Your life is a reflection of you. Your life is a reflection of you. You are a reflection of your habits and your choices that you make on a daily basis. If you change those habits, you change yourself. And if you change yourself, you change the world around you and you change your life. Okay? It's kind of how it works. It's like chunking down. And so you have to get very clear on where you are. So you got this nebulous thing. Then you got, okay, this is where I am. This is who I am. This is the character traits that I have. This is my current skill sets that I have. These are the beliefs that I have. Okay, which ones do I need to let go of? And which ones do I need to change? All right? Which skills do I need to keep? And which skills do I need to develop as this person, right? What is the character traits that I have that I want to carry over with this person? And what character traits do I need to let go of? What are the negative character traits? What are the positive character traits I want to keep? And it helps you create a very good roadmap because you've got the destination, you know where you are. Now all you got to do is connect the gap. So how do you connect the gap? You start acting like this person and you stop acting like this person. That's it. You stop making choices as your old self and you start making choices as your new self. And so think of it as if like you're thinking about, okay, what would the different version of me do? I'll give you an example. Before, I used to be very big on hit first, talk later. That's a very big model that I have, right? And that used to be me. I used to be very emotionally reactive, and I never used to give myself the space to be able to sit with my emotions. And as I've changed my identity, I've become someone who is able to sit with my emotions, process my emotions and understand what it is that I want to do with those emotions. And I know that I don't want to let myself ride the roller coaster of thoughts and emotions, right? I want to be able to be grounded and sound in reality and what reality actually is, right? And so that's a change that I made. That was a negative habit and negative choices that I used to make that I let go of to then become more conscious and be more grounded. Now, there might be seasons. Again, okay, this is a whole different concept. There's going to be seasons in your life where the identity that you have might not serve you. You have to become a different type of individual. Right now, in the season that I am, this whole hit first, talk later is applying here. But now I don't have to be emotionally reactive. I can just now take imperfect action on the things that I want, right? So that might get a little bit confusing, but what you're doing ultimately is that you're identifying where you're at, you're getting very clear on where it is that you want to go. And you're making the tiny habits, the tiny changes, the tiny choices on a daily basis, consciously, because it's going to be hard, because homeostatic impulse will keep you the same. Your current identity is going to pull you to stay exactly the same because change is hard. Change requires a lot of thinking. It burns a lot of calories, right? Many people don't eat enough. They don't even protein. They don't nourish themselves properly to then have the ability to even have the nutrients and the energy to be able to make that identity change is going to be a lot, right? And so my resolution to how somebody should change their life really just comes down to making an identity change. That, in my world and in my reality, that has served me very well. And the way that you change your reality is you get very clear on what it is that you want, who it is that you want to become, what is the type of person that you want to become, not the goals, right? You have a goal. A goal is great. A goal is a North Star. That's awesome. But the person that's going to get to the goal is you. And the person that you are right now is not going to be able to achieve those goals. Because if you were the right person, those goals will be in reach, right? And so to be able to reach those goals, you have to become a different type of person. And so first, after you identify those goals, which is a North Star, and you probably won't look at those goals often because goals are something that push you. And eventually, if you have something that pushes you, you get tired of pushing it. Versus you want something that pulls you. And what pulls you is becoming this type of person, right? And when you become this type of person, doing the work, making the habits, making the choices just becomes easier. Therefore, if taking actions and changing the habits become easier, then getting to your goal becomes easier, becomes effortless. Because your goals are just a North Star. The reality of you being able to reach your goals is your identity, who you are and who you are becoming. Because at the end of the day, to get to where it is that you want to go, if you've never had, like the famous quote that everyone says is that to achieve something you've never had, you have to become somebody you've never been. And all of that comes down to identity change. And if you're willing to sit down, to do the work, and change your identity, then I guarantee you can change your life in 6 months. It happens sooner than that. Because over time, repetition, doing it day after day after day, and having this document that reminds you on a daily basis. So the way that I do it is I wake up in the morning, I do my business, I do everything, I sit down, I journal, clear my head, meditate, then I've got this thing. It's honestly, my entire thing is a 20-minute routine. It's not even a routine. It just gives me a lot of energy and it helps me prime myself for the day. And then I jump right into work after that. So it's 15, 20, 30 minutes that this takes me to do. And so for those of you that listen to this later in the future or now, if you want a step-by-step guide of how to create this document for yourself, let me know in the comments. I would love to create this because I do want more people to have access to tools like this that can help you change your life. Because at the end of the day, my mission is that I want to help people live against the grain, right? Most people live like sheep. They get outcomes like sheep. And then in the end, they get slaughtered like sheep. And so the only way to wake up from the life that most people live is to wake up and live against the grain. Go against contemporary beliefs, go against the convictions of the ordinary, because if you let ordinary impact your life, you will always get ordinary results. You will always have an ordinary life. And if you're the type of person like me who never wanted an ordinary life, I came from an ordinary life, I grew up in an ordinary life, and I knew that ordinary life was not for me. And I made a conscious decision to help as many people get out of that ordinary life, whether that may be through the pursuit of entrepreneurship, whether that may be through the pursuit of optimal health, whether that may be becoming the best version of yourself to show up for your relationships, whatever it may be. This is just my platform to share my message on helping people change their lives. So I hope you find value in this. If you did, awesome. If you didn't, awesome. I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.